Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Bachelor Nation News. Fans of the Golden Bachelorette are showing they have Joan Vassos' back after her decision about her overnight fantasy suite visits in Tahiti. The October 30 episode marked part one of her season finale, where Joan will choose between Pascal Ingui, who recently went as Joan for Halloween, Guy Gansert, and Chalk Chapel. Her first date of the finale was with Guy, who was in hot water after an old restraining order came to light. When inviting Guy to stay overnight with her, she told him that she would not be getting physical with any of the guys as she doesn't believe in having a physical relationship with more than one person. While Guy let her know that he respected her decision, fans stormed social media to also show support for the program change. One fan posted to X, formerly Twitter, "Wow, so refreshing to see couples truly spending time getting to know each other without all the sexual attention." If more people in real life and on the Bachelor franchise and other reality shows waited for the right person and worked on emotional intimacy, they will have a better connection and chance of surviving as a couple. Hashtag the Golden Bachelorette. Another fan shared. A third fan wrote, "Joan outright pronouncing there will be no funny business on these overnights is the energy I like to see. Tell him your boundaries, girl." Another fan praised her ability to set boundaries, saying, "Joan is a boundary-setting queen." Despite their excited reactions, fans weren't completely shocked by Joan opting to keep it PG in the fantasy suites. Just a few weeks back, Joan told Us Weekly in an all-new interview that she preferred to focus on emotional intimacy rather than physical relationships. The Golden Bachelorette season finale part 2 airs November 13 on ABC
Golden
and streams later
Bachelorette
on Hulu.
Uprising. Why viewers are cheering for Joan after that fantasy suite bombshell. The decision that changed everything. The sun dipped below the sprawling California hills, casting a golden hue over the luxurious bachelor mansion turned retreat. Inside, tension buzzed through the air like static before a storm. Joan Vassos, America's first Golden Bachelorette, sat in her private suite, a silk robe draped over her shoulders and a furrow between her brows. Cameras had long stopped rolling for the night, but her mind was far from still. The fantasy suites had arrived. For months, Joan had opened her heart to love, weathering the drama, the emotional breakdowns, and the delightful surprises of dating in her golden years. Now, down to her final three men, Michael, Everett, and Tom, the stakes had never been higher. The fantasy suite represented more than intimacy. It symbolized trust, compatibility, and clarity. But Joan wasn't interested in just playing the part of a bachelorette. She wanted her decision to reflect her values, not simply give viewers what they expected. So, that night, she made a bold decision. She would spend the fantasy suite with only one man, and not for what everyone thought. The nation reacted. As the episode aired on a calm Thursday evening, viewers across the country tuned in with popcorn in hand and Twitter tabs open. Golden Bachelorette Fantasy Suite Night had become a trending topic even before the first commercial break. In a twist no one saw coming, Joan sent Michael home before the fantasy suite could even be offered. Then, she sat with Everett and had a heartfelt, tear-filled conversation about their emotional connection, only to gently tell him she didn't feel the spark she needed to move forward. She spent the night alone. That's right, Joan didn't invite anyone into the fantasy suite. Not Everett, not Tom, not anyone. The Bachelor Nation exploded. At Golden Rose Fan 99, "Wait, Joan didn't sleep with any of them? Legend behavior. Hashtag Golden Bachelorette Fantasy Suite Twist." At Reality Tears, "Joan choosing solitude and clarity over pressure and expectations? That's empowerment. I'm crying and clapping. Hashtag Queen Joan." At Batch Nation over 60, "As a woman in her 60s, I've never felt more seen. Thank you, Joan. Thank you for showing the world we still get to choose. Hashtag Golden Bachelorette." Joan had, perhaps unknowingly, sparked a movement. The morning after. Joan stood by the resort window the morning after the final rose ceremony with only 2 names still in her heart: Tom, the quiet widower who understood grief, and herself. Yes, herself. She'd always known this journey would be about finding love, but somewhere along the way, she'd rediscovered something deeper: her own worth. When Tom knocked gently at her door for the post-fantasy sweet breakfast, a tradition producers tried to keep, Joan found her dressed in white linen, sipping tea alone on the patio. "I thought we were going to talk," he said, hesitant. Joan smiled kindly. "We can talk, but it won't be in a suite, and it won't be about expectations." Tom, to his credit, respected her boundaries. That morning, they spoke not of passion, but of partnership, of late-night TV, blended families, and the loneliness no one warned you about after 60. They laughed, they cried, they held hands, but they did not spend the night together. Joan made it clear she would only make a choice when she was ready and if she felt it honored who she had become. Media firestorm versus feminist icon. While tabloids churned out clickbait, Joan breaks the fantasy suite rule, and Bachelor franchise shocked by Golden Lead's abstinence. The majority of Bachelor Nation wasn't scandalized, they were inspired. Daytime talk shows buzzed. The View devoted an entire segment to Joan's choice. Whoopi Goldberg called her a grown woman doing what grown women do, making decisions for herself, not for TV ratings. Oprah's own network posted a supportive message across social media. Joan Vassos chose peace, power, and self-respect. She didn't reject love, she redefined it. #Golden Standard. Suddenly, Joan wasn't just a reality show star. She was a symbol. The fan uprising, #ISupportJoan. TikTok flooded with videos of women over 50 sharing their own experiences, relationships they'd walked away from, intimacy they'd declined, and pressure they'd been under to be desirable on someone else's terms. One clip went viral. A woman named Carla, 64, wearing a Joan Vassos t-shirt, spoke into the camera. When Joan said no to the fantasy suite, she said yes to every woman who's ever felt forced to be okay with things that didn't feel right. "My ex-husband called me cold because I didn't want to sleep with him after he ignored me for years. Joan made me feel warm again, seen, whole." The video hit 4 million views in 24 hours. The #ISupportJoan trended globally. Suddenly, it wasn't just a fan base, it was a movement. The final rose. When it came time for the final rose ceremony, everyone was watching. Tom stood at the candlelit arbor with a hopeful, trembling smile. Joan appeared radiant, not just because of her gown or her hair, but because of her confidence. She stood tall, rose in hand. "Tom, I didn't come here expecting to leave with someone. I came here hoping to feel again, and I have. With you, I feel understood, safe, happy." Tom's breath caught. For a moment, it seemed she might offer him the rose. "But I need more time," Joan said gently. "I want us to take this into the real world, slowly, without suites or cameras. Just real life." Tom, a man who'd lost love once before, nodded. "That's all I've ever wanted." She handed him the rose, not as a guarantee, but as a beginning. The crowd watching from their living rooms, they wept. Post-show, Joan appeared on Good Morning America and Live with Kelly and Mark. Interviewers tried to prod about her decision. Was it strategy, nerves, or a moral message? Her answer was simple. "I did what felt right for me, and I think more women, at any age, should feel empowered to do that, whether that's saying yes, no, or not yet." Viewers continued to rally. Joan's Instagram doubled in followers. She started an initiative called Golden Voices, highlighting stories of women over 50 reclaiming their narratives. Netflix greenlit a documentary titled The Golden Choice: Joan's Journey, set to release in fall. Love Reimagined. 6 months later, Joan and Tom were seen strolling hand in hand in Chicago, grinning and sipping hot cider. No ring, no fanfare, just companionship. In an exclusive People interview, Joan said, "We're writing our love story at our own pace, and that's what makes it golden." Bachelor Nation's support hasn't wavered. Joan's book, Still Choosing Me, is now a bestseller. The franchise itself is reportedly exploring a new spin-off, Golden Bachelorette: Second Chances, inspired by Joan's legacy. A rose that bloomed differently. What began as a rose-drenched TV romance turned into something so much more. Joan Vassos reminded the world that love isn't always about candle-lit rooms and whispered promises. Sometimes love is saying, "I choose myself first, and you can walk beside me if you're willing." And sometimes that's the most romantic decision of all. The end, or the beginning of something better.